Right. Good morning, Year 5. Welcome back to another series of the Firework-Maker's Daughter. We're very close to the end, but we've got a few more parts. I think we've got about 3 more parts. Chapter 7. Quick recap as to what happened last time. If you remember, uh, Lila and Lal Chand were getting ready, getting set up for the firework festival, and they had a chance to peek at what the other firework makers were up to. So we're gonna and if you remember, the king also arrived with his procession along with Hamlet, who wasn't looking particularly happy. Now we're gonna carry on with the story then. A prize, this is the king speaking, a prize of a gold cup and 1,000 gold coins will be awarded to the winner, the king proclaimed. Only your applause will decide who has won. The first contestant will now begin his display. The firework makers had drawn lots to see which order they would perform in. Now, if you don't know what lots are, it's basically a bunch of it's like a bunch of, it can be like straws or sticks, and one of them has a short one, whereas the other one has are all long, and whoever draws the short one, it means that they would have to go first. Dr. Puffinflash was first. Of course, the audience had no idea what to expect, and when his mighty rockets whizzed up into the night sky, and his gigantic Bombarden Glorum Sparkenpumpf, which is probably the name of his firework, began to play the Ride of the Valkyrie, hurling out great lumps of Teutonic lava. They all burst into oohs and ahs of excitement. Then came the highlight of his display. Out of the darkness arose a tribute to the king's favorite dish, a gigantic pink prawn, fizzing and spluttering, which began to revolve faster and faster until it all went out in a shower of salmon-coloured sparks and a sonorous chord from the Bomben Glatter Sparkenpumpf. So, quite smart of the German firework maker. He's decided to make his firework look like a prawn, which is apparently the king's favorite dish. Do you think that was a smart move? Remember, how do you win the festival? It's from the amount of claps from the audience, not necessarily the king. So do you think it was a smart move from the doctor to do that? The applause was colossal. That was good, said Lila apprehensively. That big prawn, really big and pink. A bit too obvious, said Lao Chand. Don't worry, nice pink though. Must ask him for the recipe. The next to go was Signor Scorcini with his Napoli. Oh, this is okay. This Neapolitan pyrotechnicians. Red, green, and white rockets whizzed up in the air to explode with enormous bangs that echoed all around the city. And then the galleon came ablaze with sparklers and Catherine wheels, and a chorus of galley slaves made of Roman candles moved their oars stiffly to and fro. Suddenly, a giant octopus rose up out of the water, waving ghastly green tentacles, and attacked the ship. If you remember the Italian firework maker, his idea was to recreate some sort of amazing sea battle. I wonder if you remember what statue was going to appear. The sailors fired all kinds of jumping jacks and whizzes and incandescent fountains at it, and then they tipped cascades of Greek fire over it from barrels lashed to the masts. The noise was indescribable. Just when it looked as if the ship was about to tip over, up came King Neptune, probably one of the gods, waving his trident, accompanied by 3 mermaids. The band struck up, and the mermaids sang a jolly Euro song called Boom Ba Bang. The octopus waved its tentacles in time, and more rockets went off in rhythm with the music. The audience absolutely loved it. They roared with delight. "Oh dear," said Lal Chand. "That was very exciting. Oh dear, oh dear." Why do you think he's saying "oh dear"? What's on the line for him? What happens if he doesn't win? See if you can remember the story. "But didn't you see how they had to light the sea god?" Lila said. "They had to wait till he was right out of the water, and a little man in a boat reached up with a match. Just wait until they see our underwater fuse." When the applause had died down, Colonel Sparkington's display began. I think this is the third one. First, a lot of saucer-shaped fireworks whizzed down from the darkness and landed on the grass. That got a round of applause on its own, because fireworks usually went up, not down. So already something a little bit different from Mr. Sparkington. Then the famous moon swung into view, way up above the treetops, and Colonel Sparkington galloped in on a white horse made of a tiny Catherine wheels, waving his Stetson hat to the audience, who was in such a good mood that they cheered and cheered. Lila could see an official beside the king carefully counting the seconds that each burst of applause lasted. She swallowed hard. So now we know how the score is being counted. Then came the climax of Colonel Sparkington's displays. After stamping out the flying saucer with his Catherine wheel horse, the gallant colonel jumped aboard the red, white, and blue rocket. Oh wow, he went on the rocket this time. A Chokeree, a chieftain, galloped in on a Palomino pony and fired a blazing arrow at the tail of the rocket, which ignited at once and whooshed up along a wire to the moon, with Colonel Sparkington waving his hat all the way. As soon as it landed, a dozen craters flipped open and out came some little round-faced moon people with big eyes and pointy ears. The audience went wild. The moon people waved the flags of all nations and bowed to the king. Colonel Sparkington distributed rockets to them all, and they whizzed off in all directions, singing a song called Sparkington Forever. You could hear the clapping, the cheering, and the whistling and stamping for miles around. And there's a picture of, it's an absolute fabulous picture of Colonel Sparkington. He's up onto the moon, and if you can see, there's all this sort of whizzing and fireworks going around everywhere. And there's his horse as well, the white horse. Absolutely brilliant. Right, we're going to stop it there because the next part is going to be about how Lila and Lal Chand are going to fare. It's their turn next. So let's see what's going to happen. So quick recap. We saw 3 different Firework-Makers displays, and we have to say, I think the audience really loved them. But at the same time, we get indications that it's not exactly perfect. For example, the first one, what was the first one? It was the one where the German firework maker made one's firework that looked like the king's favorite dish. The second one was a big water battle between a monster and a ship. But there was some issues because they didn't know how to light the fireworks underwater, so someone had to kind of come out on a boat. And the third one was Colonel Sparkington's, which was amazing and really bright, but singing a song called Sparkington Forever, it kind of tells us what kind of a character Sparkington is. Is he quite a good character? If so, would the audience like him to win? So we'll find out. I think Lila and Lal Chan will have to try really hard for the next one. All right, see you next time.